It's my great pleasure now to have a both exciting but an honorary celebration of leadership. And we all know that as individuals, we have a responsibility in whatever our domain of activity in life is, to yes, have vision and leadership, but work together to create impact and enduring value. And that is why the Global Federation of Competitiveness Councils established our Global Competitiveness Awards. And today, we are very, very excited that we are inaugurating two new special awards, one for leadership in industry and business, and the second for global leadership in research and development in science and technology. We know that a nation's growth and competitiveness is something that one sector cannot do alone, and it's when industry, business, government, academia, civil society all come together with a coherent strategy for the future that competitiveness continues to evolve and to create the impact for the current generation, but generations to come. So I would like to call on the chairman of the Global Federation of Competitiveness Council, Mr. Chad Holliday, who is a great industry leader himself, having been the CEO and chairman of DuPont, the chairman of Bank of America, most recently the chairman of Royal Dutch Shell, lead director on many corporations, and the chairman emeritus of the U.S. Council on Competitiveness, to present our first award for leadership in industry. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Deborah. It's my great honor to present the award for industrial leadership to Christos Megalos, CEO of Prinos Bank. It's a great honor to have you with us today. Let me describe the characteristics of this very special award. It's path-breaking leadership that have made a major strengthening to the nation's competitiveness. And I can think of no one that deserves this award more than you. After very distinguished work at Barclays and Credit Suisse, you came back to your country in the eye of the financial storm to serve. I have spent a little time in banking, and I was going to try to describe this in banking terms, but there are no banking terms that properly describe what you've done. So allow me an analogy. You're a captain of a commercial aircraft full of passengers and crew. Normally, it's a very routine job. There's a checklist you check off, you take off and land, very smooth. That's what most days are like in banking, I think. But in this case, it was a storm like we have never seen before in Greece. And you returned to captain that airplane through that storm, and you lost an engine along the way. And that's when you find out a true leader, because not only do you have to rely on all your skills that you've learned for decades, but you have to have leadership to keep the crew and the passengers calm during that period of time. And that's exactly what you've shown. In my country, the U.S., we have a very famous captain called Scully, who took off and lost 2 engines and elected to land in the Hudson River, and everybody was safe. That's my image of you in your leadership role, is just like Scully. But unlike Scully, who only did it once, and quite frankly was scared to fly after that, you did it twice. Because when you return with Eurobank, and the systemic bank, which is critical to the country's success, you put that together, and now it's the most profitable bank in the country. And then you turn to your current position as CEO, where you have made those major steps to go from 57% non-performing loans now down to 7% non-performing loans. That means you didn't have more than one engine running, and you got them back up again. And secondarily, you made the competitiveness moves to get the right number of branches, to get the things in place that were necessary to make the bank very successful as it is today. We cannot think of anyone that deserves this award more, and would you please step forward and allow us to congratulate you. We have an award.
Congratulations.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, dear Minister, dear Mayor, fellows of the GFCC, I'm very honored and humble and proud of this moment being recognized by my international colleagues at the GFCC. I'm very proud. I'm a distinguished fellow, one of the first ones in Greece a few years back. It was immediately after my term at Eurobank and before my big adventure with Piraeus Bank that I became a distinguished fellow, and I'm very proud of that. And I would like to thank both of you, Chad and Deborah, for this distinction. As I said, humble and proud. I'd like to thank, first of all, my wife Ruby and my two daughters, Eleni and Stella, that are in London as we speak, for being the help and support, and for actually encouraging me in this journey. It wasn't always easy to decide to come from London back to Greece, first in 2013, in even more turbulent times at the time, in the middle of the crisis, and for a second time in 2017. The work we have done at Piraeus Bank, we are very proud. And it is one of the biggest turnaround banking stories in Europe, as people say. It is an achievement, especially with our latest results, that, of course, no one man can do. It was based in the human capital that we had in the bank, the support of the leadership team that is working with us, the support of a very distinguished board and chairman, but most importantly, the tenacity and the focus of the people to turn around the biggest bank in Greece and make it the most profitable bank, the most socially aware bank. And we are very proud not only of our financial achievements, which will continue and will become even more prevalent, but also of our social contribution. Our contribution to society is equally important with all the work that we are doing on becoming a profitable bank. I'd like to thank the fellows of the Global Federation of Competitiveness Councils, the Global Innovation Summit, which kicks off today, is going to be an important summit that we will all contribute. Thank you very much for this distinction and this award, and looking forward to participate in all the proceedings. Thank you.
Congratulations again, Christos, and thank you for those very inspiring remarks and the very inspiring introduction from Chad Holliday. Well, I'd now like to turn to our second inaugural award for leadership in research and science and technology. And we all know, as champions and leaders working on competitiveness strategy, that without long-term strategic investment in basic research, science and technology, and its application to solve the greatest problems of our day, but also the research of curiosity, the research that creates the new knowledge and underpinning of what our world becomes. We would not have competitiveness countries, we would not have the benefits of all the innovations that have transformed and given us a great human quality of life through thousands of years. Japan, of course, is the third largest economy and has been a powerhouse of both industrial innovation and science and technology research, as well as its application to creating many of the industries, the electronics, the digital world that we live in today, and many more. So it's our great honor and pleasure to bestow the GFCC Global Competitiveness Award for Research Leadership to Dr. Mishinari Hamaguchi-san, who's a hero and a giant in the research community in Japan, but also around the world. I've had the honor to know and work with Dr. Hamaguchi for many years and serve on his Global Advisory Committee when he was the president of the Japan Science and Technology Agency, which for many of you in this room today know is the major government agency in Japan that invests in research and development at universities and that is playing a pivotal role today, shaping the future of bringing the new generation of young leaders into science and technology. Dr. Hamaguchi is a leader of impact, and as I said, he shaped the research enterprise in Japan and globally. But before he assumed this important responsibility, he was the president of Nagoya University from 2009 to 2015, and he was one of the first Japanese university presidents to establish satellite campuses throughout Asia. And we know, of course, that many US universities have done that for years, and that some of them will be coming as well to forge strategic partnerships here in Greece. He's been a champion for being ready, responsive, and resilient. And we know that innovation and sustainability ultimately depends on resiliency, because without having the ability to both predict, understand, mitigate, and respond to whatever happens in our world, and to achieve resiliency, we will not create the value and the potential to go forward in life. So following the great East Japan earthquake of 2011, it was Dr. Hamaguchi who went into action, setting up a university task force that dispatched doctors, radiation specialists, and medical supplies. And to support the post-earthquake development of the Tohoku area, he set up for the first time the Japan Science and Technology Agency's Center for Revitalization Promotion to work with the local industries to restart economic growth and to bring the universities into a new strategic industry-academic collaboration, which, as we know also, is at the heart of developing innovative, competitive nations and economies. And now, fast forward to the last few years to battle the COVID-19 pandemic, it was Dr. Hamaguchi who initiated Plan B, a multidisciplinary R&D initiative in the non-medical field. And this is very, very important because Plan B was to work with Plan A, focusing on developing the vaccines and therapeutic drugs. And it was the combination of these two plans that accelerated the development of the technologies for first detecting the virus, for the whole sanitation system, and creating the environment where people could meet, travel, work with a safety protocol, but also without restrictions. And I was very honored on his advisory committee and through his work on the GFCC to know about the Hamaguchi Plan that promoted activities that built very close ties with industry policymakers and society at large, because without society accepting and understanding the benefits and power of science and technology in all aspects of life, we will not have the support of taxpayers and public to invest in the future. And that created the Center of Innovation program. Dr. Hamaguchi established the Brilliant Female Researchers Award, and the Marie Sklodowska-Curie Award to support the careers of Japanese women researchers. And this is very important because for many years, Japan was not a culture and society that embraced women at the forefront of science and technology. So I congratulate you on that, Dr. Hamaguchi, as a woman myself. And I could go on and on about his accomplishments, but let me say that now he's taken on even a bigger challenge as the director of Japan's new Strategic Center of Biomedical Advanced Vaccine Research and Development for Preparedness and Response, linking the research and the development to preparedness and response. Because while we have navigated through COVID-19, there will be new pandemics. We don't know when and where, but we have to be ready. And I know you're leading that in Japan, Dr. Hamaguchi. This is a 5-year, $2 billion initiative that will produce diagnostic tests, treatments, vaccines to be ready to go within the first 100 days of a pathogen with the pandemic potential having been identified, ready to go and roll this out within the first 100 days. So with a warm heart and a human heart, Dr. Hamaguchi is a very special human being. He has brought together countries, sectors, disciplines, and generations to achieve these important goals through science and technology research, but its application to the human condition and to the human challenges we face. We are very proud also to call you a distinguished fellow. Dr. Hamaguchi, please come and accept your award.
Thank you very much, Deborah-san, for your heartwarming introduction. I will never forget in my life your word forever. And executive of all GFCC, GIS, and academy, and other gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving me this wonderful award. I'm greatly encouraged by your support as I begin a new challenge this year in a new organization. As Deborah-san told it, I will be responsible for the vaccine preparation in Japan because we suffered a lot 2.5 years ago. We'll never forget that tragedy anyway. I believe trust among leaders is important to live better in this uncertain world. In the research community, I have seen how innovative research, better human resource development, and contribution to society are all fostered not through leadership by one person, but by the cooperation of multiple leaders backed by trust. I would say leadership should inspire co-creation. This is an era we have to realize, co-creation. I believe that today's award is GFCC's recognition of the combined effort of all partners who have cooperated with us so far. Those of us gathered here at this summit work in a variety of sectors, including academia, industry, and government. And I am now strongly aware of the importance of our trust across the sectors. We must help each other more and more if we are to overcome the various crises in our society, such as climate change and policy decoupling. We need to tackle these problems through co-creative innovation. Co-creative innovation. Anyway, thank you very much, Charles-san, Deborah-san, for spending more than a decade nurturing this kind of global community of leaders. It's great work. I look forward to discussing our thoughts, practices, and efforts with you here. I also hope to expand and strengthen the circle of trust between our young leaders, nurturing the next generation of leadership of co-creation. Thank you very much for your attention.